This is Henry Simon, bringing you another story from my files here at the Missing Persons Bureau.
In these stories of the Missing Persons Bureau, dramatized for Henry Simon by Ross Napier, names and addresses have, for obvious reasons, been changed. In one moment, the search for James Rothwell Sutherland. Address unknown. And here again is Henry Simon.
The staccato clatter of machine gun fire broke the stillness of the dawn. Everywhere, khaki-clad men dived for cover, flattening themselves upon the desert sand as a deadly hail of lead combed the area. A second machine gun opened fire, but they were sitting ducks, 30 British soldiers behind the enemy lines. Caught unawares, they had very little or no chance indeed to fight back. Of their 3 trucks, the first in line exploded with a roar. Then the second, and 17 men lay dead where they had fallen. Then it happened. From under cover of the remaining truck, a man emerged, the top half of his body bare, his left leg spurting blood from 2 separate wounds. Stumbling, staggering, he ran blindly in the direction of the first machine gun, miraculously surviving its lethal blast. 30 yards away, he pulled the firing pin out of a grenade, flinging it hard and high. The first machine gun spoke no more, and with not a moment's hesitation, the bleeding figure charged the second. It was over almost before it had begun. All was still again, as the lone one turned his back upon the silent guns and abruptly fell face downwards in the sand.
Yes? You sent for me, Major?
Yes. Come in, Lieutenant. Sit down, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Well, how is he?
He'll pull through.
Fine. And the leg?
It's been removed. There was no hope of saving it. Completely shot to pieces. How he kept on as long as he did, I'll never know.
A very brave young man.
I've never seen a braver one, sir. Without any doubt, he saved the lives of 12 men, mine included.
At the same time, putting 2 machine guns out of action?
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'd never have believed it possible. He ran straight at them, sir, directly into their fire. It's a miracle he's alive to tell the story. A miracle and nothing less.
He'll be sighted, of course.
To my way of thinking, there's no medal big enough.
There is one, perhaps. I'm recommending him for the Victoria Cross.
Thus did Corporal James Rothwell Sutherland attain the undisputed but coveted status of hero. Invalided home minus a leg, he was duly summoned to Buckingham Palace, where the Victoria Cross was pinned to his chest by the King. His feat was practically described in the newspapers, and for a brief period in those dark days of war, he became a celebrity. Indeed, it is said that he was accorded more tributes and feted more lavishly than any VC winner before or since. It was, therefore, not very surprising that I remember his name so well when it was brought to my attention some 6 years later, in the August of 1948, by a caption in the Daily Chronicle. VC winner disappears.
Morning, Chief.
Oh, good morning, Sterry. You're in bright and early.
Yeah, I figured it was time I tried catching the worm. What's new?
I was just reading about this fellow Sutherland.
Who?
James Rothwell Sutherland, V.C. One of our war heroes.
Oh, yeah? Well, what about him?
Seems he's disappeared. There's an article about him here.
Hey, wasn't he the one who lost a leg?
In North Africa, yes. He stormed a couple of machine gun posts. Single-handed.
Yeah. I seem to remember hearing people speak about him.
Mm-hmm.
Where did he disappear from?
His home, apparently. He was living with his parents up in Coventry.
Not married?
Well, there's no mention here of a wife.
How long has he been gone?
I dare study. You remind me of myself interviewing a client. Here.
Oh, so. Yeah, 7 months, huh? Father's appealing for anyone who's seen or heard of him to come forward. Looks like a job for us. Maybe we ought to offer our services.
We've got more than enough jobs in our hands as it is. Not canvassing for more. It reminds me, you promised to let me have that Matheson report this morning.
Oh, yes, so I did. I've got it drafted. I'll get Pauline to type it out.
After putting the newspaper aside, I duly forgot all about James Rothwell Sutherland and his reported disappearance, until a week later, when I was given very good cause to recall it. Yes?
Mr. Simon?
Yes?
Please forgive the intrusion. There was no one in the outer office, and I saw your name on the door.
My secretary's at lunch.
Oh, well, I wonder if you'd be so kind as to spare me a few minutes.
Certainly. Sit down, won't you?
I'll just close the door.
Oh, thank you.
Sutherland's my name, Frank Sutherland. I'm here about my son, Mr. Simon. You may have heard of him. James Rothwell Sutherland. He was a V.C. winner in the last war.
Tall and grey-haired, with straight, broad shoulders, Frank Sutherland then went on to verify the newspaper account of his son's disappearance, a grave frown clouding his well-shaped features.
Apart from his 2 years in the army, he lived at home all his life with his mother and myself. He was an only child.
He's not married, is he?
No.
Did he have a job of any kind?
Well, his ambition was to be a composer.
Of music?
Yes, he wrote little poetry. No doubt you think it strange that a war hero should be interested in the gentler arts?
Not at all. Though I must admit I've never actually pictured him as a poet.
Well, it comes as a surprise to most people when they hear. Those who don't know him, that is. However, he's never shown himself to be unduly gifted either as a composer or as a poet. He did write a few verses for some magazine or other. He sold 2 of his compositions to an American advertising firm, but other than that, he's had very little luck.
Has he no other occupation?
No. Being a moderately wealthy man, he doesn't really need one. His grandmother left him quite a large sum when she died, most of which he's since invested quite wisely, as it happens.
I see.
The fact is, Mr. Simon, we're very concerned about him, his mother and I. It's almost 8 months now since he left home, and we've not heard a word from him.
What were the circumstances of his departure exactly?
Well, he said he was coming down to London. That was on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
He was to return on the Monday.
But he didn't, eh?
No.
What did he come to London for?
Well, he didn't say. We assume he had ideas of trying to sell some of his work.
Just how close was he to you and his mother?
Oh, well, we thought the world of him, naturally, but it's difficult to put into words. One never quite knows what he was thinking or feeling. He didn't believe in discussing his problems with us or with anyone else, for that matter.
Tell me, did his war experiences affect him at all? Apart, of course, from the loss of his leg.
Well, it didn't appear to, no, but the publicity he received certainly did.
Oh? In what way?
Well, for some reason, he didn't seem to want to be a hero. He gave the impression that he found the role an embarrassing one.
Embarrassing?
As for all the fuss that was made of him, well, he endured it, but that's about all. One stage, there was talk of erecting a statue in his honor. He wouldn't hear of it. I've never seen him so emphatic about anything. He's an odd boy. I can't tell you what a shock I got when I heard of his bravery. He was the last person I expected to distinguish himself in battle. What I mean is, by nature, he's always been so meek and mild. The thought of him charging 2 German machine gun nests, wiping them out, well, for long enough I simply wouldn't believe it. But there can be no doubting the fact that he did just that. There were 12 witnesses, including Lieutenant Charlton, one of his officers.
It's often at times of great stress, you know, that people reveal their true selves.
True.
Did he have many friends?
Not really, no. He's always kept pretty much to himself.
Romantic interests?
Oh, the only girl he ever displayed any interest in at all was Judith.
Judith?
Judith Barry. She lived next door to us. Still does, for that matter. They were seeing quite a deal of each other at one time.
Was there ever any talk of marriage between them?
Well, it was more or less assumed that they would marry eventually.
Assumed? By whom?
By both families.
Were they keeping company up until the time of his disappearance?
Off and on, yes. They go to the cinema once or twice a week and occasionally to a dance.
And he gave her no indication at all that he was going away?
No more indication than he gave anyone else. She was quite put out about it, for which I couldn't blame her. I think she rather took it for granted that they'd been married too, although I'm almost certain he never broached the subject with her.
Were they friendly before the war?
They've known each other since they were at school. While he was away, they corresponded quite regularly.
How old is Miss Barry?
25, 26.
And your son?
29.
Did he know anyone in London? Was there anyone in particular he might have contacted?
No one I can think of. Unless...
Yes?
Well, about 3 months before he left, Ron Charlton came to see him.
Ron Charlton?
The officer I spoke of, the one who was with him when he lost his leg.
Oh, yes. What was the purpose of his visit?
Well, he was passing through and stopped by to say hello. I remember him telling James if ever there was anything he could do to help him anyway, not to hesitate to let him know.
I see. You wouldn't know where he could be contacted?
I'm afraid not. Curiously, till now, I never really gave him much thought.
I guess I can find out from military headquarters. A lieutenant, did you say he was?
Yes, I believe he was later promoted to captain.
Captain Ron Charlton. Fine. Well, no sense in delaying it. I'll phone them right away. At military headquarters, I spoke to Major Ralph Thomas, who had rendered us invaluable assistance in the past, and who, on this occasion, was swift to come up with the information we required. Namely, that the former Captain Charlton was residing at an address in Braithwaite Road, Claxton. Accordingly, I instructed Study, who later, that same afternoon, was redirected by Charlton's wife to an office in the city, where he was employed as an accountant.
That's right, Mr. Study. We were cut off behind the Jerry lines, 30 of us. I was in command, and as it was, we lost 17 men. But if it hadn't been for Sutherland, we'd have all been wiped out.
Apart from that one incident, what kind of a soldier was he, generally speaking?
That's the astonishing part of it.
Yeah?
Up to that time, I'd always regarded him as the world's worst.
Henry Simon returns to continue this story in just a moment. Here again is Henry Simon.
Despite the fact that our investigation was barely underway, we'd unearthed some surprising information regarding James Rothwell Sutherland, V.C. In his father's words, he was anything but the heroic type, and as described by his former superior, a very poor soldier.
I don't quite get it, sir. Could you maybe elaborate a little?
There are 3 types of soldier, Mr. Study. The born soldier, who makes a business of fighting and loves it. The motivated soldier, who fights for something he believes in and makes the best of it. And the unmotivated soldier, who dons a uniform and takes up a gun because circumstances force him to. Sutherland belonged to that group. He was a soldier without incentive. A soldier who was never sure what he was fighting for and who really didn't care.
But he must have cared some to do what he did.
At that crucial moment, something obviously happened to make him care. What that something was, I wouldn't know. And I very much doubt if he does himself. I only know that it saved 12 lives, mine among them.
I understand you paid him a visit at his parents' home some time ago.
I was passing through Coventry on my way to Birmingham. I dropped in to pay my respects.
According to his father, you told him if there was ever anything you could do for him, you'd be only too happy to oblige?
That's right.
He didn't take advantage of the offer?
He hasn't to date, no. As I said, I haven't heard from him.
After taking his leave of Charlton, Studdy went direct to Euston Station, where he boarded a train for Coventry. On his arrival, at a few minutes past 6 that evening, he proceeded to number 57 Argyle Street, the home of Judith Barry, which adjoined that of our client. A neat brick bungalow painted white, with a cement path leading from the gate to the front door. In answer to his ring, the door was opened by a plumpish, middle-aged woman, who ushered him into a tastefully furnished living room, where he was joined a few moments later by the young lady in question, a slim, attractive brunette.
Mother tells me you're here about Jim.
Yes, that's right. There are just a few points I'd like to check with you.
Well, I'm afraid there's very little I can tell you about him. He didn't bother taking me into his confidence. Well, not that there was any reason why he should have, but... Well, we were quite friendly for some time.
Before leaving, he gave you no indication at all that he wasn't planning to return?
None.
He didn't say why he was going to London?
No.
Did you see him before he went?
I went to the train with him.
Uh-huh. Well, how did you see him then?
Much the same as always. Quiet, thoughtful. He never had much to say for himself.
Did you have any form of understanding with him?
Understanding?
Regarding the future?
If you mean, were we planning to be married? No, we weren't.
In other words, you enjoyed a purely platonic relationship?
It might have been described as that, yes.
Why?
I beg your pardon.
Well, believe me, Miss Barry, I'm not being personal just for the sake of it. I'm trying to get a picture of what the guy was like, what made him tick, you know?
Well, I don't care for your chances. I tried hard enough myself, but it didn't get me very far. I knew him for years. And yet in so many ways he was a complete stranger to me. Quite impossible to understand.
He wrote to you regularly while he was in the army?
Every few weeks.
Well, to have done that, surely he must have thought of you a good deal.
Oh, he thought of me all right. But that's as far as it went.
You're quite sure he did go to London?
I told you I saw him on the train.
But that's not to say he didn't get off somewhere en route.
Well, no, but why should he?
Why should he disappear, yeah. Well, he could have had some plan in mind. Just said he was going to London to throw everybody off the track.
Oh, but that's ridiculous.
No more so than his not coming back.
Well, there's one sure way of finding out.
Yeah?
Mrs. McGraw was in the same carriage. I saw her getting in.
Mrs. McGraw?
The local chemist's wife.
Oh, was she a friend of his?
Not that I know of. For that matter, I'm barely acquainted with her myself. But she must have known him by sight. If he'd left the train before it got to London, she'd have seen him. That is, assuming she went as far as London.
You didn't check with her?
Well, it didn't occur to me. Till now, I never really thought about her.
Where can I reach her?
She and her husband live above the shop. It's just a couple of blocks along the street, next to the grocer's. The name's on the window, McGraw's Pharmacy. You can't miss it.
Sorry to bother you so late, Mrs. McGraw, but it's a matter of some urgency.
Oh, yes?
You're acquainted with the Sutherlands, are you?
Well, only to nod to.
Well, I guess you've heard about the son disappearing.
I did hear it left home, yes, but I couldn't tell you the details. I tried to keep myself apart from the neighborhood gossip as much as possible.
Well, in this case, it's a bit more than gossip. But letting that pass for the moment, I understand you took a trip early this year.
Trip?
Yes, to London. That is, you caught the London train.
Oh, yes, I went down to spend a few days with my sister.
In London?
Yes, South Wimbledon.
Well, Jim Sutherland was on the same train, so I believe. Same carriage, in fact?
That's right. He was sitting in front of me.
You didn't speak to him at all?
No.
Did he go all the way, do you recall, or did he get out before you?
I've an idea he did. Yes, at Bantry.
Bantry?
The platform's so low there. I remember the porter had to help him down.
You're quite sure it was Bantry?
Certain. It was the last stop before Sudbury.
Uh-huh. You didn't mention this to anybody?
I didn't see any cause to. There was nothing unusual in it.
Maybe not. Except that he hasn't been seen or heard of since.
After taking his leave of Mrs. McGrath, Studdy returned to 57 Argyle Road, where he again questioned Judith Barry, who expressed considerable surprise when he told her what he'd learned.
Bantry? But why on earth should he get off there?
Well, I was hoping maybe you could tell me.
Have you checked with his parents?
Not yet. I thought I'd try you first.
Well, I'm sorry. Apart from the fact that he spent a few months at a training camp there,
Training camp?
when he was first in the army. It was where they taught him to be a soldier.
Studdy was further enlightened by our client, Frank Sutherland, who informed him that whilst training at Bantry, his son had befriended a certain Kathleen Abbott, in whose company he had spent many of his leisure hours. Mrs. Abbott, it transpired, had been a voluntary worker at the barracks canteen, and together with her husband, had kept open house for quite a number of the Bantry trainees, Jim Sutherland included. He had mentioned her several times in his letters home, but to his parents' knowledge, after leaving Bantry, had had no further contact with her. Accordingly, Studdy set out to locate Kathleen Abbott, whom he had very little trouble in tracing to her home in Jersey Street, Bantry, not very far from the site of the old barracks, which had since been pulled down and replaced by a motor factory. An elderly white-haired woman, she greeted the agent cordially, pressing him to join her in a cup of tea.
I do hope it's strong enough for you, Mr. Studdy.
Oh, it's just fine, thanks, ma'am. But, reverting to the matter in question, has Sutherland been in touch with you at all during the past 8 months?
You say his parents are anxious about him?
Very.
He should have written to them. He promised me he would.
Then he has been here.
Jimmy and I are old friends, Mr. Studdy. When he was stationed at Bantry during the early part of the war, we had many long chats. He was unhappy in the army, and I did what I could to cheer him up, to help him adjust himself, you might say. Then he was moved to another camp. For a while he wrote to me, but as time went on, we gradually lost touch. I didn't see or hear from him again till one morning last January. There was a ring at the door. I opened it, and there he was.
Go on.
The rest of the story is for him to tell.
Oh, fair enough, but where is he?
Right behind you, Mr. Studdy.
What?
Allow me to introduce myself. James Rothfull Sutherland, B.C.
Studdy blinked in bewilderment at the intruder. There could be no mistaking him from his photographs. The face with the deep-set eyes, the V-shaped scar on his left cheek. As he settled himself in a chair facing the agent, Mrs. Abbott rose, and excusing herself on the pretext that she had some work to do in the kitchen, left the room.
A wonderful woman, Mr. Studdy. I doubt if there'd be another person in the world who understands me a tenth as well as she does. Certainly not my parents or Judith Barry. They don't understand me at all. They never did.
Is that why you cleared out?
I cleared out because I was in a rut. My life had become a meaningless existence. Not that it was the fault of theirs. I did everything in their power to snap me out of it, to pull me together. Unfortunately, all they succeeded in doing was to make me totally dependent on them. Or almost. It's difficult to put into words. I just felt I had to get away from them for a while, find someone who could steer me back on a course.
So you settled for Mrs. Abbott, huh?
I had no intention of coming here to stay originally. I merely wanted to ask her advice, talk things over with her. And then, when the time came for me to leave, she suggested I stay on for a few days. That was over 7 months ago, and I'm still here.
It didn't occur to you to contact your parents or Miss Barry to let them know where you were?
I settled down to write to them 12 times, but somehow I could never find the right words to say. The truth of it is, I'm a misfit. I don't belong to their world or any other. In everything I've tried to do, I've been a failure. As a poet, a composer, even as a soldier.
It's not the way I heard it. I wouldn't know how you write as a poet or composer, but as a soldier, you're practically a living legend.
I'll let you in on a little secret, Mr. Study. You might find it amusing.
I'm all ears.
I joined the army because there was a war on, and I had no alternative. I hated it. I hated everything about it. I had no heart for fighting, no will. And then one day I woke up in hospital and discovered I was a hero. Or rather that I was being treated as one. In truth, I was anything but.
The records say you were. And so do the 12 men whose lives you saved.
No, they're quite wrong. I was hit in the leg. I crawled under a truck for cover, and that's all I remember. Next thing, I was in hospital, minus a leg.
You've got no recollection of what you did?
Not the slightest.
Well, you sure did it, that's for sure.
So I've heard. My one success. Funny thing.
What's funny?
Just that. I've never been able to make the grade at what I've wanted to do. All I've been able to do is be a hero.
Henry Simon returns to conclude this story in just a moment. Here again is Henry Simon.
I very much doubt if Kathleen Abbott or anyone else really understood James Rothwell Sutherland. He was a born enigma, unfathomable even to himself. He had a good home, devoted parents, and the love of a fine young woman. All a man could wish for, in fact. Yet he strove for the unattainable, for something he knew not what that lay beyond his grasp. In his own eyes he was a failure, but to the world he was a hero, a man among men, and a hero he'll remain, for just as long as the story of his valor is told. And now, as always, this is Henry Simon inviting you to meet me here again, and for the present, bidding you au revoir.